So I've never seen all of the Clone Wars, and I've never seen any of Star Wars Rebels. So I don't fully know the relationship and dynamic between Ahsoka and Sabine. But after watching these two episodes of the brand new Ahsoka show, there is nobody that can convince me that these two have not scissored at least one time. Like, come on. And welcome to my Safe Gayven, everybody. My name is Michael. Thank you for joining me here on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel, where I talk about all things black, all things queer, hashtag make it blacker, make it gayer, and I love to talk about fantasy and all things that have blood, sex, gore, magic, or any variation of the four. So if this is your first time joining me here on the channel, or you are a regular here on the channel, do me a favor, hit the like button. It'll really help with the YouTube algorithm and not only getting this video out there, but also my channel out there as well. But with that said, we are here to talk about episodes 1 and 2 of the newest project to hit Star Wars, and the project that I'm very excited about, and it is called Ahsoka. And the synopsis for Ahsoka is: former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano investigates an emerging threat to a vulnerable galaxy. And like I mentioned in the intro, I think I got up to the first 5 seasons of the Clone Wars, and then I kind of fell off. Not because I wasn't interested, I just started watching other stuff. So I'm actually going back to rewatch it and then eventually watch Rebels. So I really have no connection to a lot of these other characters. And getting into the Ahsoka show, it definitely feels like I know about Rebels, and I've seen one episode of Rebels, funny enough, and it was the episode that Ahsoka fought Vader. That was the only episode that I saw because I know who Ahsoka is, seeing the first 5 seasons of Clone Wars, and then obviously I know who Vader is, seeing all of the Star Wars movies and The Mandalorian, etc., etc. So that was the only episode of Rebels that I did watch. But I do know, having watched these first 2 episodes, that this show feels very much like a continuation of Rebels. It feels very much like a Rebels sequel. It, for the most part, feels very much like a Rebels live action show as opposed to a more Ahsoka-focused show. It just happens to be following Ahsoka this time instead of Ezra and Kanan. But it still feels very much like Rebels with all the characters that we've seen with Sabine, Chappie, the robot, the green-haired girl, the green-headed alien girl, I can't think of her name, who I know she has a kid with Kanan. Hera Syndulla, there we go. And we know Lars Mikkelsen has been recast to reprise his role as Grand Admiral Thrawn, who was also introduced in Rebels as well. So this very much feels like a Rebels continuation. And so I say all that to say, like, I wasn't necessarily lost in this show, not having seen Rebels. I pretty much knew what was going on, but also part of that is because I watched like recaps and like I know the general story and things that have happened in Rebels, characters that didn't make it and all of that. Like, I know where the story went with Rebels. I know where Clone Wars went. And so because of that, I wasn't necessarily lost. But if you have not seen Star Wars and Rebels, I feel like you probably wouldn't gain as much from the character interactions and everything like that watching this show than if you actually seen both the Clone Wars and Rebels. So, and I know there's a lot that I am missing from this show, from this particular show, not having finished Clone Wars and Rebels. So I'm definitely going back to do that so I can get a much more nuanced and much more developed relationship and establishment with these characters than I currently have now. But with that said, despite the information I have going into the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka, I love this show so far. And I actually got to see the first 2 episodes a couple days early, and not only that, I got to see it on the Dolby big screen. And this show is extremely cinematic. And then the biggest thing about this show, the thing that really enthralled me and hypnotized me, was the score and the music, especially in the Dolby screens played, and the composer for the score is Kevin Kiner, I think that's his name. Kevin Kiner, and he did all the music for the Clone Wars, he did all the music for Rebels. He also did the music and score for Peacemaker, apparently. And of course he's done a bunch of other stuff, but like the score and the music for this show, like, it was hitting hard. And the majority of this review is going to be non-spoiler. At the very end, there's going to be something that I want to talk about and bring up that's a spoiler. So hopefully you have watched Rebels, because I will be talking about that but not until the very end. So if you haven't watched Rebels, you can watch the rest of this review. Side note, I said if you haven't watched Rebels, you can watch the rest of this review. I meant if you haven't watched Ahsoka, you can watch the rest of this review, because the first half is going to be non-spoilers and then I'll get to spoilers at the end. The beauty of editing. But I will say, so far, out of the 2 episodes that I've seen, episode 1 is definitely my favorite. And I know they led into showing the first 2 episodes, but I feel like, especially with the way episode 1 ended and the structure and how episode 1, it felt like a movie. Like, they really could have ended and got us hooked on this show just based on that first episode. But I'm glad we got to see the first 2 episodes. And I will say, like, episode 1, it did start a little slow and there wasn't a lot going on, and it did a lot of trying to catch you up to everything that's happening, especially if you've never seen Star Wars Rebels. But I appreciated that, because it was all character-driven stuff and character-driven motivations, and I was here for all of that. And I know there's only been like 2 episodes so far. There's 9 episodes in total, so obviously I don't know where the story is gonna go. But my biggest hope for this show, being that it is called Ahsoka, and I keep saying how I feel like it's really just a continuation of Rebels. Instead of following Ezra and Kanan, it's just following Ahsoka. But I'm hoping that we get more character building from Ahsoka Tano herself, not just in connection with all the characters that we know from Rebels, like Sabine, Hera, etc., but also with her backstory and connection with Anakin, because we know that this is obviously canon to Rebels, so we know she had to fight Anakin and that they both somehow survived. But then also we know that based on season 3 of The Mandalorian, that she now knows and has interacted with Luke Skywalker. And supposedly this show takes place around the same time of The Mandalorian. But I would also like to see, like, when did she find out that her master, Anakin Skywalker, had 2 kids, and Luke and Leia? What was the conversation like when the 2 of them first met? What was the conversation like when she found out that Anakin sacrificed himself to take out Emperor Palpatine? And that conversation, like, I want to see that. And like, because I'm always a character guy. I love character development and story, and that's why I feel like a lot of the slow moments that happen in this, especially the first episode, I didn't have a problem with, because a lot of those slow moments were the characters interacting and discussion and having conversations with each other. Like, for example, like one of my favorite episodes of Hawkeye was just Kate Bishop and Yelena sitting there having a conversation while she was eating, what was she eating, macaroni and cheese or whatever. Like, I could have watched an entire episode of just them sitting there talking. And I feel like a lot of shows, especially in the sci-fi fantasy genre, don't really lean into that. They think everything, it always has to be action, action, action. And no, action can happen from a simple conversation, because there could be action and tension and drama just in dialogue. So that's something that I hope we get to see within these 9 episodes. Like, I want to see, like, her trauma, or not just the trauma, but just the conclusion or closure of, like, her finding out about Luke, her finding out about Leia, because we didn't really get to see that in The Mandalorian. And The Mandalorian, she already knew Luke Skywalker existed. But how did that come about? How did you find out about Luke Skywalker? How did you find out that he's the child of Anakin? How did you find out about Leia? Or do you know about Leia? So, and did you talk to them about Padme because you knew their mother? So that's the stuff I want to see, in addition to the lightsaber fights. And also, like I mentioned in the intro of my video, like, I'm not sure the dynamic and relationship between Sabine and Ahsoka, outside of the fact that Ahsoka was training her as a Padawan, and then I guess for whatever reason that fell apart, and Sabine is a Jedi in training. But watching these first 2 episodes, especially being that there was a disconnect between them, they stopped talking for a while. Ahsoka was very hesitant to bring Sabine back into her life. Like, it almost felt like ex-girlfriends meeting up with each other. Like, at one point, maybe one of them was about to propose and they were very much in love with the other, but then maybe like Ahsoka had to leave to fight for the greater good, and she didn't want Sabine to be, like, it definitely felt like jilted ex-lovers. Like, the whole entire time, I was just like, are they in love? Like, have they had an intimate relationship at any point like that? So granted, I don't know. It might not be true, but I would not be surprised if either I find out that was the case, or throughout this show, we find out that they are lovers, or they develop into being lovers, because that's exactly how it felt. And you know, I'll be here for that. Hashtag my motto is make it black or make it gayer. But it definitely feels like Sabine and Ahsoka are doing a little scissoring action. And if they're not, then they need to. Because Star Wars definitely needs to be gayer, because especially with Finn and Poe, like, yeah, we need more queer characters, queer main characters in Star Wars. But overall, yeah, I thought this first 2 episodes were incredible. I'm gonna watch it again on my television, because I want to see how, because after watching it on Dolby, I'm just like, I need to hit up Dolby. And from this point forward, I'm like, I need to watch, because there are 9 episodes in total. I'm just like, I need to watch the other 7 episodes on the big screen, because it's just how cinematic and gorgeous it looked. But I'm definitely excited for, so granted, I'm cautiously excited, because these were the first 2 episodes, and I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes. But at the same time, I also enjoyed the first 2 episodes of Secret Invasion, and then they shit the bed after that. So hopefully that does not happen with Ahsoka. So that's why I'm cautiously optimistic. But based on these first 2 episodes, I'm excited to see where the show goes. And like I said, I'm going to catch up on Clone Wars. I'm going to catch up on Rebels, so I can have the entire picture of this show. And I honestly think Rosario Dawson is doing a phenomenal job playing a live action version of Ahsoka Tano, and she looks just like her. And so yeah, that's the non-spoiler part of my Ahsoka Tano review and discussion. But there's one thing in particular that I do want to talk about and bring up, that's spoilers for these first 2 episodes. So again, if you haven't seen the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka, this is where the spoilers come in to play. So unless you don't care about spoilers, or you've seen this first 2 episodes, continue with the video. Hopefully you made it to this part of the video. Again, please hit that like button, especially if you made it to this point of the video. If you haven't, that means you've enjoyed the content so far. So please hit the like button. It'll really help with the YouTube algorithm and getting this video and my channel out there. But with that said, so this character right here that looks pretty badass with the costume. I know there's going to be a lot of people cosplaying as this character, completely masked up. Obviously, he's a villain. He's an Inquisitor and everything like that. We know this has got to be Ezra Bridger, right? Because why else would they introduce a new Inquisitor or evil Jedi character when we already have the 2, the older guy and the woman? I can't think of their names, but also rest in peace, because I do know the older guy, he died after the filming of season 1. So we're not going to see his character anymore, because he's not around anymore. Like, the actor isn't around anymore unless they recast. But why introduce this mysterious new figure if not for the fact that it's going to, if not Ezra, it's got to be a major character within the Star Wars mythos, and at least particularly with ties to Ahsoka, that they're going to reveal later on. Otherwise, why mask this person up, especially giving them this cool Sith-like looking outfit, if it's not Ezra? Especially considering the entire premise of this show is looking for Ezra and Thrawn, or Thrawn rather. That's got to be Ezra, right? Who else would it be? Unless it's revealed that Kanan is still alive and it's actually him, but I don't think they're gonna do that. It's gonna be like it's Ezra, and wherever he went with Thrawn at the end of Rebels, he lost his memory or something along those lines, and that's why he's working with the opposite side. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to get into in terms of spoilers with regards to this particular episode. But like I said, I'm excited about this episode, or these first 2 episodes. And then also, I feel like even though we're still following the same Skywalker-esque type characters, because Ahsoka is attached to, obviously, Anakin, who is her master, I still feel like the thing that makes this show a lot different is we're getting much more different sides. Finally, we're getting a more universal expansion of the Star Wars mythos with the Ahsoka show, in the sense of, like, Rebels showed us a different part of the Star Wars mythos with, like, time travel, and we're also getting into the magical side of the Force with, I can't think of the actress that showed up in Mandalorian that Ahsoka came to, but she's apparently a witch, part of the Dathomir clan and seeing the magic side of the Force, different aspects and different ways to use the Force, and different characters within the Star Wars mythos. Like even the two antagonists that were like, they're not even really Siths because their lightsabers are like orange, which means they're kind of evil, but not really. So we may see them even change sides and things like that. So, or even like Ahsoka, I think she was like one of the first characters to have a white lightsaber. And I did learn that a white lightsaber, the significance of that, because all lightsaber colors have different significances, she took that saber, or she took those sabers from a former Sith and then purified it. And so that's what made the white color. So it was formerly evil, an evil blade, because the kyber crystals that the Jedi and Sith use are somewhat sentient and alive, and she purified them. So that's why her blades are white. And so you actually learn that from Tales of the Jedi. So that's also another thing I recommend that you guys have to watch to really get and understand the Ahsoka show, Tales of the Jedi, because that goes a lot into Ahsoka's backstory and her origins, which I did watch. It's on Disney Plus. But either way, I'm excited. I'm here for it. There's definitely going to be a lot of cosplayers for this Ahsoka show. But anyway, that's enough about me talking about Ahsoka. The question is, did you guys see Ahsoka? Did you watch the first 2 episodes? Have you seen Clone Wars? Have you seen Rebels? How does it compare to Rebels? Did you enjoy Clone Wars and Rebels? Let me know all of your thoughts regarding Ahsoka Tano. Do you like Ahsoka Tano? Let me know all of your thoughts regarding Ahsoka Tano in the comment section below. Also, once again, if you can, please hit that thumbs up button and like this video to really help out with the YouTube algorithm. And if this is one of your first time checking out one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. If you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video, and tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time, and may the Force be with you.